Hi, welcome back to Commer. Today we are so excited to have a very special guest with us. He is a man who is creative. He paints, he writes, he speaks, and today we're going to have him here to talk a little bit on the topic of a dreamer to becoming a doer. Let's
Wow.
welcome Kevin Liu.
Thank you. Hi.
So Kevin, we're so excited to have you here, and I believe along the years you have had many dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And I've spoken to so many people off screen that one thing when we talk about dreamers, I think your name pops up quite often.
Wow. I'm on it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
And so today we're going to dive into the topic of how does one not just stay as a dreamer, but also realizing their dreams and bringing it into fulfillment.
Okay. That's really like
Yeah.
a wide topic.
Right. Maybe let's zoom into
Yeah?
one of the biggest struggle that most dreamers have.
Okay.
Is where many have big dreams,
Mm-hmm.
but again, sometimes it doesn't translate into them doing it, or rather, they coin this term as dreamer paralysis.
Okay.
So, what is your take on it?
Yeah, I think firstly, dream by itself, it's like a double-edged sword. Okay? It can empowers you,
Yep.
drives you, and gives you all the energy that you need. Or dream can paralyzes you because wow, this is this is such a great thing to think about today together. Because when you have a dream, and a dream is for the future,
Yep.
for something that you want to accomplish in the future, and you have a distance, you have a process to go through, you have a journey that you got to work out. The paralysis is not that you don't have that dream. The paralysis is because you have that dream, but you're not willing to pay the price
Right.
for the journey, right? And you're not willing to endure the days of obscure beginning. Nothing happens. Just grinding, practicing and working out the basics, perfecting the routine. To me, that's the thing. So as compared to someone that say no dream, they just keep at it, and their life just get better and better and better. And when they finally, after a whole process, they look back, they realize how far they have gone. And I think that is one of the things that probably to a lot of people, they are now very afraid of dreaming. They're very afraid of having a vision or a hope in life, lest they feel disappointed. Now, I wouldn't want people to feel that way. I want them to have a sense, a grasp of a dream ahead.
Yep.
But keep it there, believing that it can come to pass. But at this point now, I'm step one. Say the dream is step 100.
Right.
Step one, it's better to start at step one with baby steps, small steps, each step. And then from there, we work towards that. And I think if we are able to understand this, it should give us enough fuel to last the journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's good. You talked about going to the basics, doing the hard work at the beginning,
Yeah.
grinding day in, day out
Yep.
to get there. I think so when we talk about that grind, that hard work, so people actually don't like that. They want to achieve the dream first and then, look back.
Yep.
And so what would be your advice be? I think now the generation has a bit of a shift in their thinking as well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's so true.
So with that mentality, I want that dream, but I don't want that grind. So where do you stand on that?
Okay, I think it's true. I love what you say. There's a shift in the thinking, because we have to first understand why there's a shift in thinking in the first place. This generation is getting way more intelligent than the generations before, right? Whether you like it or not, that's the reality. The brain has grown and developed so much more. In a sense, intelligence has increased, resilience has decreased, right? So because of that, they are able to articulate a lot of things that probably in my generation we never had. And that articulation, if it is defining it wrong, it affects them very negatively.
Right.
So yeah, they want a dream. They, and there are a lot of big terms flying around. For example, trust the process.
Right.
I don't think anybody has a clue. Well, sorry, I shouldn't say anybody. I don't think a lot of people has a clue what trusting the process is all about.
Yeah.
Trusting the process is actually enjoying the grind.
Right.
Trusting the process is actually doing the mundane where nobody's clapping, nobody's cheering, no applause, no lights, not in front of the camera. It's not. That's trusting the process. Trusting the process is not a mantra like, oh, I hum it enough times, then suddenly it will happen. And it's also because we are in a startup generation.
Yep.
In my time, startup means starting a business. Now there's a term. But a startup, what people see is the success story of they had an idea and then something happened. Wow, that's amazing. But what they didn't see is from that idea to becoming so good, what happened in that process? What did they do? What were the groundwork? What were some of the things that they put in, the sacrifices, the sleepless nights? And by and by, I hear stories like, oh, Bill Gates never finished his studies. So if you want to do well in life, you shouldn't go to the university. Now, that is a so wrong conclusion. He didn't finish because he was so busy.
Yep.
And he was already building something.
Yep.
If you are not building anything, you just have a dream and you don't want to finish your studies, I think that's an issue there.
Yeah.
So trusting the process. I want you to know I'm creative. I'm not even sure if my family was having that in mind. When I was growing up, going to art classes is actually like a babysitting. I grew up in, many years ago. I'm not going to reveal how old I am, but I grew up in a time where Saturday mornings, when my parents are busy, they would drop me to an art class.
Yep.
And bro, the art class was 10 ringgit a month.
Wow. Okay.
Okay. And we will be there for hours.
Yep.
So it's like 8 to 10. Your parents come late, picking you up at 11:30. The teacher doesn't mind.
Right.
And those days, the teacher just pastes a painting on the wall. Okay, everybody, draw this. I still remember we spent months just trying to draw flowers.
Right.
And he doesn't tell you how to draw the flower. You just look.
Yeah.
And then you just draw. And then he will come around and say, okay, wrong. Color is wrong.
Okay.
This is wrong. Do this part. Do that part. That's the grind.
Yeah.
That's the process. That you just have to look at the painting and say, all right, I think that's olive green. I used to remember the number like 269, like brown,
Wow.
and mixed with this. All right, you have to add a bit of black to darken the tone to create that color. Then the teacher will come, okay, this is correct now. And so you just keep doing that. They never tell you, wow, you have a dream, son. One day you can become a top artist in the nation or internationally known. Nope. So I went 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. I went my entire primary school, entire high school. And in my high school days, I paint and it was bad. There was one season, it was so ugly. But I just kept going.
Yeah.
There was no dream. I didn't think I was going to become an artist. And I would just add it. And there was a turning point. There's one night, the teacher, kind of like the art teacher, put up so art classes.
Yep.
The teacher has like stacks of painted
Yep.
drawing in the studio.
Yep.
She would just pick something out that she drew many years ago.
Okay.
She stuck it on the wall. Okay, tonight, Kevin, you do this.
Right.
It was a scene in Venice. There was a overhead. There's a little bridge, like building, people walking around it. So that night, that was my job. Art class for 2 hours. and I have to finish that piece.
Right.
And as I was doing that piece, I can recall very vividly that when I finished that piece, I thought it was nice myself.
Right.
Of course, I didn't admit it those days. Not humble. Ma. I thought, wow, this is really good. And then it dawned upon me, it finally clicked. By then, I would have learned art for 10 over years.
Yeah.
And the teacher walked past and said, wow, you got it.
Wow.
That was a moment of reckoning. It was like, yeah, I grasped it. You know, like Karate Kid,
Yeah.
you just have to keep doing the motion.
Yep.
It felt very meaningless. It's people always like, what has this got to do with the big picture?
Yeah.
So because we are more intelligent,
Yep.
we cannot help but asking those questions. I'm not upset. People ask questions. But how do you make them don't ask questions when they already could ask questions?
Yep.
And I am from a generation that don't ask questions.
True.
So, Karate Kid just start doing the motion and suddenly one day it just clicked. You know those Chinese Kung Fu
Yeah.
movie, right? You have to zap ma.
Yep.
Oh, it's called squat now.
Squat.
Oh, you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, the Sifu always put the incense at the bottom of your butt. If you don't, you
Yeah.
get burned, right? I mean, it was funny like those
Yep.
days, the movies. But that's your core. Before you want to learn whatever style, that was the core basic. That was the process. It's not fun. It's
Yeah.
not entertaining. It's not fulfilling. It's not satisfying. Just foundation. And I think if we want to really say trust the process, we just got to learn what it means to enjoy the grind.
That's so good. I think what you said, so much to unpack.
Yeah.
But one thing that came to my mind, because you've been doing it for so many years, was there a time in your life where you almost gave up on a dream, or you were doing something that's too big, or along the way you were hit with doubts that stopped you?
I wouldn't say no, but I would say doubt has always been every step of the journey.
Right.
But I think there are things that I give up because I don't want to pursue anymore. On some of the more major things in my life, I never had the luxury of giving up because it was a lot more people at stake.
Right.
It's not just me.
Yep.
So I'm in a very different position.
Yep.
If I give up, I affect thousands of people. So I actually never. I have doubts.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
I have lousy moments. Way more than anyone can imagine. I have been very temperamental at times. All that.
Yep.
But I actually never entertained the thought of giving up
Right.
because of the amount of people that will be affected by my decision. But those are on that scale.
Yep.
But on my personal, maybe I don't like to call it giving up. I just don't like it that I don't do it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think you sharing how you thought of the people that were around you that
Yeah.
could be affected by your decision, I think that is a beautiful picture. I think it shows a lot of maturity and love for the people around. Because I think today we are very conditioned where if we don't like something, we tend to quit.
But yeah,
Regardless.
but that's individual, isn't it?
True. You are not wrong. Maybe I overgeneralized it.
Yeah, because if what you are doing is actually more individual, like it's just your own thing.
Right.
I mean, I want to tell you, it's very easy to give up if it's my own thing.
Okay.
I just don't like it anymore,
Okay.
right? I don't want to do it.
Yep.
But those things that, when you say anything that I had doubt that I want to give up, but those things were affecting a lot of other people, I just never give myself the luxury to have
Right.
the option to
Yeah.
to bail out.
Right.
But individual, and I think it's good that we talk about this. Then we can actually define
Yeah.
like, is this my own thing,
Yes.
or is it something that is more corporate, more collective in nature?
Yep.
And if we understand that if it's more collective in nature, I maybe don't have that luxury. Maybe it kind of like help reduce that sphere of options
Right.
for helping us to develop as a person, right?
Yep.
Because I cannot just say, oh, I quit,
Yeah.
and then 30, 40 people lose their job.
Yep.
Oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, so I actually don't have that.
Wow. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah.
I think that shows resilience as well.
Yeah.
So on this journey of becoming from a dreamer to a doer, I believe there are a lot of people that came alongside with you, that walk with you. So tell us some of your process in once you have a dream, right? How do you work with other people to bring it to fulfillment? Because I think a lot of people are, I have this thing, but I don't know where should I go, who should I look for, and a lot of dreams stays as a dream.
The dream.
Yeah.
You ask very good questions. I don't know how other people work.
Okay.
For me, I'm usually not very sure when, say, I have a dream
Yeah.
or something. I'll try to talk to a few people that I can trust.
Yeah.
People that will tell me no. People will tell me that's rubbish. I also talk to people that will give me a more objective perspective. I'm creative.
Yeah.
I dwell in the abstract. I don't need answers. If left to me,
Yeah.
I can do anything I want. I don't need steps. Right? So I have my wife. She's an engineer, and she's amazing.
Yeah.
Very organized in her thoughts. Very objective. I have Keith,
Yeah.
another amazing guy in my life.
Right.
Orderly, make sure things done. And then I've got a lot of other people like Kason, Sarah, Cindy. Kason is more creative like me. So if I know I have an abstract thought that I want to talk about, I talk to Kason. But if I need activation,
Yep.
I talk to my wife, Keith, and see how to go about doing this. Is it doable? Manage some risk. And if I think the risk is worth taking, I'll go for it.
Right.
Without them, I will just do it. If people suffer from overthinking, I suffer from not thinking. And it's bad. I know it's bad. So if it's on my own, if it doesn't affect other people, I'll just go for it.
Right.
I mean, I've done shoes, right? I
Yeah.
design shoes. I have a shoe brand.
Yep.
It's not dead. It's resting.
Resting.
I have some designs, but I don't know. I maybe it's something up in the future.
Right.
So I think when you're listening to this podcast today, you have to first ask yourself, if you have a dream, the biggest thing is not whether you have a dream or not. The biggest dream is all these things that happen in your life. Do you know who you are?
Right.
Do you know yourself?
Yep.
Right? And the dream shaped us to discover who we are.
Wow.
The dream doesn't shape us to make us, but to shape us to discover us.
Wow.
So I know I'm a person suffering from no thinking because I hold on to a principle that nobody knows the future. Right? And of course, people tell you plan in such a way that mitigate the risk.
Yep.
I have none of that. Okay? Left it on me, I'll go and give it a shot.
Yep.
It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't hurt. Well, it will hurt me if I don't plan properly.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't hurt, when it hurt me, I mean usually just financially.
Yep.
But if it doesn't hurt people,
Yeah.
in a way that will destroy their lives,
Mm.
in a way that will harm them morally or spiritually
Yeah.
or physically or whatever, that they feel abused or used, I'll go for it.
Yeah.
But if I am in a place where I have a dream and I'm torturing other people, I should be warned that
Right.
this cannot go on anymore.
Yeah.
So ultimately that's in my heart. But if it's my own thing that I want to explore, if I lose some money but I get to try something, so then my life is make enough money to try more things. Because to me, I'm just curious about a lot of things. Like before we shot this
Yep.
episode,
Yep.
we were checking through all the plants and rearranging them, making sure no dead leaves are shown to our viewers. Because I'm very curious about things. I love plants. People now know I have a lot of plants at home. But it's not forever. It's not perpetual. I'm just curious how to keep them.
Right.
Once I learn how to keep them and they don't die, because my plants died
Yep.
in the very early days.
Yep.
In fact, it was you guys that bought me this terrarium
Yeah.
before there was terrarium. And nobody knew what it was.
Yeah.
I look at it, I'm like, why got me this? Like, what's it for, right?
Yeah.
So I didn't tend to it. I didn't nurture it. So it died sooner than anybody imagined. And Daniel used to tell me, you don't have to take care of it. Just leave it there. I'm like, okay, I believed him. It died. Then I have plants. It just died. I just came to a point, no. I just want to find out how I cannot kill them. So now I learn. And I mastered the process of taking care of plants. So I guess soon I'll move on to something else.
Wow. So many good things, but one thing I want to hinge on. You mentioned that you are a curious person.
Yeah.
Was it something that you nurtured along the way, or was it in you?
I think it was innate in me, just not so celebrated when I was younger. Because you can be too curious that you're annoying other people, annoying my parents, But I learned to just ask a lot of questions. I don't have to ask other people. I just ask myself. Like coming here, I probably saw some of the tallest frangipani trees in the world in Penang. Like, near that old cemetery.
Yep.
I was like, how on planet Earth this frangipani is so tall? Because usually they are really
Yep.
well manicured,
Yeah.
tall, but not. This is like a
It's massive.
tall one. I'm curious.
Yeah.
Okay, again, I just like to know. I never think that I'm a very curious person, right? It was people around me who observe.
Right.
Hey, you are very curious. Like if I go to the forest, I will want to know why there's moss here, why there's no moss there, how did the moss grow, and how do we replicate moss in our house, right?
Yeah.
When you have aquascaping,
Yep.
you want to know all these things.
Yep.
What kind of moist? I didn't know I was being curious.
Okay.
I just like to see. And then people think that I'm curious.
Wow.
So I thought, oh, all right. So probably in my generation, we don't have a lot of terms for what we want to experience in life. And along the way, we discover.
Right.
But in this generation, there's so many terms and concepts.
Yeah.
Sometimes I find it very hard for you guys because, like when I was growing up, nobody talked about overthinking.
True.
Suddenly, when overthinking is cool, you want to be known like you're overthinking too. I also like people to think that I overthink. But actually, one day I just decided, you know what, guys? It's fake. I don't have it. I just don't think. I just have enough ingredient. I'll go.
Wow.
So it explains a lot of things in my life.
Mm.
So that's why I love cooking. I don't like baking.
Okay.
Right? Get me?
I get you.
I just have enough ingredient. I will explore. Baking is not. Baking is science, bro. Baking, one of my staff is an amazing baker. He told me, knead the dough, wait for 8 hours, bake the bread, put it into the oven. I knead the dough, and he told me to knead how long. I'm like, forget it. This dough doesn't know how long. So I rested it.
Right.
In a 6 hour, I put in the oven. That dude didn't rise. So I called Albert. Albert, my bread didn't rise. He said, did you wait for 8 hours? He didn't even ask me what happened. He knew exactly what I didn't do. Did you wait for 8 hours? I said, nope. Why? I told you 8 hours. I said, the dough doesn't know it's not 8 hours. 8 hours. Boss, 8 hours. I said, forget it. I chuck it away. So I think I recognize as a creative, I am not the overthinking type. I'm the no thinking type. So I know how to make my dream work when I'm not thinking enough kind of person. But if you're a creative and you're the overthinking type, then you realize you need the no thinking type to balance it out. Because on our own, no one is complete.
Wow. I love that.
Right?
I love
no
that.
one is complete. I cannot say no thinking is the best creative. No, that's not true.
Yeah.
Overthinking is the best creative. Not true. We need each other.
Wow.
And that's why I say the dream should help us discover ourselves.
Wow. So good.
The dream should not make who you are. It doesn't. You are who you are. Right? These are tools in life, filters that help you discover ultimate goal in life is to discover who you really are at the end of the day. I guess by then you can say you're a doer.
Wow. I think it's beautiful how you coined it, where nobody is perfect alone, coming together, and how the dream is the one that is a tool that we use to figure out who we are in life. And I think that's a beautiful place for us to end today's podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Hope to see you in the next episode.